Today is Saturday the 18th of March. Got a couple more days until the spring equinox. As you can see, the sun is just about to set. There are some high clouds which are going to diminish transparency, at least to the west, north, and west, but it looks pretty decent overhead. And to the south, tonight I'll be featuring as much of Ursa Majoris as I can get, probably with Galaxies and Lynx, and further south. As I said, contrary to last night, I'm going to focus on Galaxies, and I'm going to set the scope up to operate as though it were a 12-inch scope. Right now I've got the scope parked in the zenith position. It's almost, but not quite, perfectly vertical, as you can tell from the bubble. A little bit tilted to the north. Haven't been able to eliminate that, but I've got the parameters on the Go To. You should take a look at those. Menu, align, model parameters, in the 2000 bit range. Perpendicularity looks good. The RE hour index looks pretty good. Values change when you switch to the west. Now we're off on the index error, the RE hour. 1219, 1540. Ultimately, I'm shooting for every one of these values being less than 2000, and getting quite close. But last night the values are roughly the same. Maybe these are a little better, and I was having no difficulty going to whatever NGC or other deep sky study that I had intended to. So hopefully we'll have similar results tonight. And there's Penty, the expandable observatory with scope and place. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. I've already synchronized the scope mount to Pollux in Gemini, one of the two twins. Pollux is the easternmost of the two bright stars of Gemini. Both are first magnitude. And I'm driving over to 2419, which is this globular cluster we're seeing right here. I'm a little bit disappointed in this location. I thought we'd start off with this one. It's already been imaged, so I'm not going to give any specifications to it. I'm going to probably have to realign a little bit, resynchronize the scope, because I'm not satisfied with the location. Now I could synchronize to 2419, but there could be inaccuracies in the database, and I prefer not to do it. So I think I'll go ahead and, before going on to my next new study for the night, which is going to feature pretty much galaxies. 90% of the studies we will view tonight will be galaxies. I'm going to go ahead and then synchronize to Castor as well. And you see 2683, Galaxy and Lynx, fairly bright, 9.8 magnitude. Kind of an edge-on spiral, 8 by 8 arc minutes by 2.5, 23 million light years distant. And at the settings I'm using now, it gives a spectacular view. That is a beauty. We're not seeing the dark band as we might see in NGC 981. So this, there may be a bit more tilt to this one, or it may simply be that it has pretty much converted a lot of its cold dark matter into stellar material. But that's a very impressive galaxy. Now, we wouldn't have seen much more than the bright central core if I had used the settings for last night, which were based on 6-inch aperture. But the settings for tonight, 128 flood, 30, I think, 128 flood, 40, 36. I think I've got 36 as my gain in it, because I want to try to emulate a 12-inch scope. This is the view you'd get through the eyepiece of a 12-inch scope. Once again, however, not nearly as high contrast, but notice the stars look pretty good. So instead of pushing it all the way up to 256, stopping at 128 and getting that 12-inch view is giving some excellent imagery of these 10th magnitude galaxies. Very, very nice. This is an adventitious galaxy just stepping through the catalog. NGC 2684, Galaxy in Ursa Majoris, magnitude 12.9, 0.9 by 0.7 arc minutes. Class C, little c, spiral 134 million light years away. The reason I went to it is because the declination is 49 degrees, and if it's much more than that, it would not be visible. But here's a look at the screen. I think I'm seeing the galaxy right about in that location there. It's pretty diffuse. 12.9 magnitude, I believe it was. I'll have to double check on that. And I'm going to go ahead and synchronize to this one before I go to the next one, because I've noticed that I left the scope in the zenith position, and usually I leave it in the counterweight down position when it's parked, and it may have had an effect on the centering of the scope. I'll experiment with that a little bit later, but I do want to get through these deep sky studies. So there's our view. NGC 2841 is another galaxy in Ursa Majoris. Its magnitude 9.2, fairly large, 7.7 by 3.6 arc minutes. A spiral of lowercase b class, 38 million light years distant, and at almost 51 degrees north latitude. I think I am getting a little bit of the aperture cut off, but you can see the galaxy plainly just above the dark bar with extended halo around it. Very nice. NGC 2843 is a galaxy in Cancer, magnitude 16.5, 0.4 by 0.2. I don't think I'm calling this one up. This is ridiculous. It's 1,310 million light years away. I would definitely love to see it, but we're not going to see it anywhere on the screen. But hey, what the heck. Well, we can watch the screen for it. It's going to take about 8 seconds for this thing to generate. 16.3 might just be visible at maximum flood 256 and maximum sensitivity 44 point, I believe it's 44.8. Here's a sweep of the field. It does appear to be something that looks a little galactic just above, right in that location there at the tip of my finger. I'd be astonished if that is the galaxy, but I'm not going to chalk that one up to success. NGC 2683, another galaxy in length, magnitude 9.8, 8.8 by 2.5. We may have seen this one already. Progressing through the catalog and not finding stuff often results in some confusion. 23 million light years distant. But we did see it, and here's our second view with the sky a little bit darker. Worth a second trip. What we have here is NGC 2690, Galaxy in Hydra. I can't be convinced that we're actually there, but there are several faint galaxies on the screen above my head. Magnitude 13.12 by 0.5 arc minutes. Spiral of class lowercase AB, 71 million light years distant. And if there is, yeah, I see an edge on towards the top of the screen. Right here, there's an edgy right here. There's several other galaxies. This must be quite a nice little galaxy group. And it might be worthwhile, or maybe an ARP galaxy. The ARP catalog basically catalogs family groups, although some of these could be line of sight at greater distances. But I believe just above the dark bar is this spiral we're looking for. NGC 2691, another Galaxy in Lynx, magnitude 13.1, 1.2 by 0.8 arc minutes. It's a spiral of lowercase a, 185 million light years distant. And looking at the screen, all I see is this little faint thing right down here where I've been seeing most of the galaxies, the way the alignments played out this evening towards the bottom of the screen. And I do need to do another synchronization, but I do believe that's our baby. Actually, a few other galactic looking studies on the screen as well. NGC 2695, a Galaxy in Hydra. I'm starting to have a little bit of deja vu on these. Magnitude 11.9, 1.7 by 1.2 arc minute. A spiral of class O, which means right at the point where the Hubble's tuning fork of galaxy galactics between the lowercase and the uppercase letters splits, 84 million light years distant, and pretty easy to pick out towards the top of the screen, which is where things have been ending up to the south, so my alignments need some work. Or, as I mentioned earlier on, there's a problem if you don't park your scope with the counterweight down after doing all your alignments. 2695 in Hydra. Another beautiful galaxy, NGC 3198, Galaxy in Ursa Majoris, magnitude 10.8, fairly bright, kind of edgy on, 8.1 by 3 arc minutes. It's a spiral of class capital B, and it has a C. It includes a ring right there, 39 million light years distant. And there's our view. At an odd position for me. There might be several satellite galaxies in attendance as well. This is another one of those near edge-on galaxies, but without the dark band showing along its edge. Could be a matter, it is kind of tilted, so we might not be seeing it. There's plenty of structure there to be seen, including some H2 regions to the galaxy. This is a sweetie. I want you to note also that at 128 flood, we're not getting a lot of the distortions we were getting in stars that we see at 256. So I may have to give up a little bit of aperture to improve the aesthetics by keeping all my galactic studies at 12 point at 128 flood. But there's a very sweet view. A little closer, 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 closer. What a reach. NGC 3200, a Galaxy in Hydra, magnitude 12, 4.2 by 1.3 arc minutes. Has a lot of attributes. It's a spiral of class B, little b, C, 157 million light years distant. And you can see it down just above the dark bar at the 8 o'clock position from that bright star. Now from my angle, I can't tell whether it has any extensions of note. Certainly I can't tell if it's got a ring, but maybe we will when we look at the screen tomorrow. NGC 3184 is another Galaxy in Ursa Majoris. Magnitude 9.8, pretty face-on, 7.6 by 7.4. It is a spiral. I can't promise you any spiral extensions. It's only 28 million light years distant. Oh, I see the spiral extensions. Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, yes. You can see the spiral arms wrapping around it in a clockwise direction. At least I can. Try to hold the camera so you can get a view. Beautiful face-on spiral with spiral arms. Wow. That is very, very nice. Gorgeous. I'm rather overextended here. I'd like to keep it on there a bit longer. I'll sweep the field. I think there may be some other attendant galaxies, and you might be able to see other aspects of its detail. Oh, there's the shot right there. Look at that. The spiral arms. How about that? NGC 2683. Sounds familiar. Galaxy and Lynx. Magnitude 9.8, 8.8 by 2.5. I'll bet you we've seen this one. 23 million light years distant. And I'm not seeing it anywhere on the screen, so something is amiss. And it's not. Oh, maybe it's because I got this silly light on. I'll consult my learning. I'll sweep it a few times. Fairly large, really edge-on galaxy. Something missing. I think I'll do an alignment synchronization on something. I am not seeing that galaxy anywhere. Oh well. NGC 3726, another galaxy in Ursa Majoris. Magnitude 10.4, fairly large, 6 by 4 arc minutes. Spiral of capital B, which means a bar, I believe. The C may mean something like a ring, with a core with a ring. It definitely has that. 42 million light years distant. And it's just clearing the REV II. Now, and it's at a very difficult angle for me. But I think I see the galaxy up there, even at this extreme angle. And centering on the last study and synchronizing, that last galaxy seems to have helped go to quite sufficiently. You can see the galaxy towards the middle of the field. I can't tell you whether or not it's got any real features visible because I can't really see it. I'm extending my arm in order to be able to get a decent view. I'll have to check it out in the morning. Because I can take the images with me. And you see 3728, Galaxy in Leo this time. Magnitude 13, fairly large for a 13th magnitude galaxy, 2 by 1.5 arc minutes. Spiral of lowercase b, 317 million light years distant. The furthest one I've seen has been about 600 million light years. That was, I think, earlier in the late in 2022. This is the view I'm getting now. I'm having to reposition myself to even see if the galaxy, oh yeah, I can see the galaxy present there. A brightish core with some spiral extensions going off towards what I would describe as the 9 to 5 positions of a clock. Could be several other, yeah, it's Leo. There's going to be plenty of galaxies up there. This is the featured galaxy. NGC 3486 is a galaxy in Leo Minor, magnitude 10.5, fairly bright, 6.8 by 4.8 arc minutes, a spiral of class BC, slightly tilted, 32 million light years distant. Once again, a challenging position for me to have to put extend my arm into. I can't tell you whether, oh yeah, I see the galaxy there. There's actually another fainter one near it. The one I guess is the galaxy is, there's a bright star in the screen off to the right in the middle of the screen. And if you go down to the 730 position from that, you'll see our featured galaxy, which is 10th magnitude. And then from the 430 position from that, not too far, is another faint galaxy. So I can see some other fainter blotches on the screen as well. NGC 3344, another galaxy in Leo Minor, magnitude 9.9, 7.1 by 6.8 arc minutes. It's a spiral, pretty much face on with a ring, 23 million light years distant. And this particular galaxy is considered optimal for a 12-inch telescope. Frankly, I am not seeing it anywhere on the screen. I'm seeing some cores, several of them frankly, but I couldn't tell you which one of them was the galaxy. We should be seeing some details in this galaxy. It's very large and face on. Like I said, there's numerous faint galaxies on the screen, but nothing that looks the way I would have expected it to look. I think I'm going to have to do another alignment. Not sure I want to do it to Procylon, though. It really messed things up last time when I went that deep south. There are a variety of galaxies up there. I'll go to see if Regulus will do me a nice alignment synchronization. Back to NGC 3344, the alignments weren't that good, which gives me a chance to test next night out to see if leaving it in the counterweight down position takes care of some of these inaccuracies. 3344, again a galaxy in Leo Minor, magnitude 9.9, large, 7 by 6.8 arc minutes, spiral SVC with a ring, 23 million light years distant. And the galaxy core is clearly visible between those, just below those two, that double star pair there. I can see the galactic extensions from my perspective, so I can see why it's larger. But it's very intriguing. It either has a neighbor or it has a very bright star formation to the 2 o'clock position from the core. So, should be a pretty intriguing galaxy to turn up in a larger scope through the eyepiece. And here's your view through real-time imaging. NGC 3191 is a galaxy in Ursa Majoris. It's also known as 3192, magnitude 13.3, 0.8 by 0.6 arc minutes. It's got a lot of attributes. A spiral with a large bar, a little bar, a core, and then there's some kind of a P extension. Distant, 411 million light years. I'm glad we caught this one. This is out at the limits. You can see the galaxy more or less towards the center of the field there. There's probably several others as well. Now, we can't be sure which one it is, but it should be roundish and therefore bleed to the edges. So all we're really doing is seeing the core. This is a pretty distant galaxy. And as I said, we could easily confuse it with other ones in the field, so I can't make any great claims. I am now getting a flashing red light on the handheld camera, which tells me it is Carpe Nocte.